Alright guys, welcome to part 2. Now, I am going to show you just pretty much the rest of the stuff you can take down, and hopefully if we have enough time, how to put this thing together without making a part 3. Alright, so as I said before, you can take off the triggers, but I'm not going to show you how to do that because they're really hard. But what essentially you do is you push this left trigger, or the trigger to the left, and push this thing to the right and pop it out, and as you see here, there's like a little pin that sticks into this white thing right here that lets it move, and you're just going to want to separate that and pop it out. And there's a spring under here, or a spring right there, top right, if you can see that, and that will come out. So it's kind of hard to get back in. Take those apart at your own risk. And these are the rumble pads, which create vibrate in your controller. They're just a little wire attached to a box right here, and you can just grasp it and just wiggle it out, and there you go. And then to put it back in, you just go like that, line it up, and push it right back in. If you do see, the two weights are different. The weight on the left, because your controller normally faces this way with the thumbsticks, the weight on the left is the heavier one, so you don't want to get those mixed up. See, the one on the right is lighter, one on the left is heavier. Alright, so now that you've seen pretty much how to take every single piece of this thing apart, we're going to put it back together. So once you're here, assuming that you've already put the rumble pads back on, if you've taken those off, you can put the thumbsticks back on like that, click them in. To make sure they're down, just click, and now 90% of the time make sure they're clicked in. Put this one on like that. So that's your first step that you're going to do. Make sure your triggers are still working. And now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to place this the motherboard back in the bottom of the casing, and these little springs, you want to push them in so that they fit down here, right like that. And make sure the triggers are out too, right here. And if you check on the back, make sure these are flush with the bottom. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece right here where your mic was, and you're just going to want to move these rumbles out of the way and fit this back on here. There's one spot here which it goes onto a little peg, and same on the left. And once that's back on, move this rumble pad, this one too. You may need to move it around to get it to fit correctly, but that's how you put on that part. And then what you're going to want to do is take the top part with all the buttons, and you're going to want to put the D-pads pad back on, and you're going to want to put the buttons pads back on right here, and make sure they fit in. They'll fit in these little grooves, so you'll know when they're in or not. And then what you're going to want to do is take the shoulder buttons, and you are going to want to put them on here like this, and they fit right on these little grooves here, like that and like that. Wow, alright. I just totally took out all the buttons. So yeah, that's how you take out all the buttons. I hope you enjoyed that little quick tutorial about all the buttons. But we'll put those back in. The two back buttons and stuff like that. Put these in. Now the back and start buttons don't matter because they're just essentially arrows. And then put the Xbox guide button back in here. And just make sure that's all in check. That guide button's a little crooked, So just keep spinning it until you find that groove that it fits in right there. Make sure it's straight. And oh, to keep in mind, the guide button, it does have two separate pieces, so you're going to want to make sure that they all line up correctly. And so I'll line this up real quickly, and that with that. And then what you're going to want to do is, again, put on these, like I just failed at doing. Where's the other rubber pad? Oh, it's already on here. Alright, so after you get that, put the shoulder buttons back on. Don't do what I just did by totally just pouring out all the buttons. Now this is the hard part. I'm going to try my best to let you be able to see this. But essentially what you have to do is you have to turn it so the triggers are facing you. And you're going to want to just pinch it all down and turn it upside down. Okay? Now while in this position, you're going to want to line up these rumble pads in these little grooves here. So we're going to take this rumble pad, line it up, pinch this rumble pad, line it up, make sure all the pads down here are correctly sticking on. This one's coming up for some reason. And then what you're going to want to do is place the thumbsticks in the thumb holes and just kind of smash it all together, flip it, shimmy it around, and it should be in check. Make sure none of your buttons are sticking. Thumbsticks are working fine, they're clicking, D-pad works fine, buttons aren't sticking. So now what you're going to want to do is make sure everything's working, triggers, shoulder buttons, and then you're just going to put a screw in. Take a screwdriver again. I'm going to put it on the screwdriver first. It's a good thing if your tip of your screwdriver is magnetic, because then you can just place it right on there and then line it up with the hole and then just screw it in from there. Let me screw this in real quick, and then the screwing in process takes is a lot less of a hassle, because when you are unscrewing, if you did what I did and you took the pins out, it's sometimes hard to get into the grooves because, well, they're not meant to be broken off. So it's really hard to line up the pattern with the head of the screw. So, and another thing is, you want to make sure that you're in the groove before you start screwing, because if you don't, then you may strip the screw and you won't be able to place it back in, and you could potentially ruin your whole entire controller, and that would not be good. Now if you took this off, the sticker off, which is right here, the little sticker, if you took that off professionally, like I've seen some people use a hair dryer and somehow like melt the sticky stuff off of it so they can take it off cleanly, but I didn't do that. But you can replace it on here like that. It's not very straight, but you get the point. And just make sure it's lined up, make it as perfect as you can, and it sometimes can be believable. Now I believe that if you do take the sticker off and you can't put it back on or anything, I don't think you can sell these controllers back to stores like GameStop takes used controllers. I do not believe that they will take it if you have tampered with your controller. So if I were to return this one to GameStop, I'd make sure the well, first of all, I'd change these thumbsticks because these aren't the default thumbsticks, and I would also make sure the stickers as perfect as I can. Sometimes they may take it, sometimes they may not, so you're really taking a chance by doing this. Now, pretty much for time's sake of the video, I am just going to cut it here, but all you're going to have to do is put the remaining screws in, and that's about it.